Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Ashish Prajapati, and I work as a technical trainer for AWS. I deliver technical training, and apart from that, I created few resources to help learners in their cloud journey. Today, I have a great honor to talk to Prasad and Lucy about their cloud career journey. Why we are having this talk? From past few years, cloud computing has been one of the top tech skills, and there is a lot of gap into this particular field. In other words, organization need people who have cloud skills, but we are having a shortfall in that particular supply. That's why we are trying to uh, find share our experience so that practical tips can be given to you, and then you can get the most out of this journey. And if you're a first timer or advancing your cloud career journey, hopefully it should help you out. I'll ask Prasad and Lucy to introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Lucy, first.
Hey everyone, I'm Lucy. I run a YouTube channel called Tech with Lucy, which is all about helping people build their cloud skills and hopefully land a job in the cloud industry. So I've been doing this for about 3 years now. And before then, I actually worked at AWS as a solutions architect. And yeah, before then, I was an intern as well. Super excited to be here.
Happy to have you, Lucy. Over to you, Prasad.
Hello, everyone. I'm Prasad. I'm currently working as a principal solutions architect at AWS. I'm also the co founder of the initiative BESA, Become a Solutions Architect. It's a free mentoring initiative where we help people excel in their cloud careers, and also the co author of the book Cloud Career Journeys, which shares inspiring journeys of 60 individuals who have been able to transition from their uh, roles to cloud careers or excel in their cloud career journey. Very excited to be here speaking with you, Lucy, and Ashish.
Happy to have you, Prasad. So I'll quickly jump into the discussion in the interest of time. I want to know from you, Lucy, first that how did you get started with cloud computing and what led you to your current cloud career?
Yep. So my journey started off when I interned at AWS. I studied information systems in university, and cloud came up as a career choice for me. And it was really exciting at the time because I think cloud was still a technology that was in all of our minds, relatively new, but it was growing at such a rapid pace. And so, got the opportunity to intern at AWS, got to meet different people in different teams, did a few certifications, and in the end, decided to become a solutions architect to help customers move to the cloud and use that as an opportunity for my own learning as well, just to learn about how different companies are using all of these technologies and how it's actually making such a big impact in the world. And now what I'm doing is kind of trying to give back to that community. There were so many people who helped me along the way. I had so many mentors who were just so willing to, teach me about the cloud and everything like that. And so I know that not everyone in the world will have like the equal opportunity, and there are so many people who are looking to learn cloud. And what I do at the moment is making regular YouTube videos around once a week to help people learn about what the cloud is, how they can get started, the different certification pathways, and so on.
Nice, good to hear that. How about you, Prasad? What was your cloud journey starting point?
Quite different to what Lucy's has been. Like I am from the era when cloud was not actually there. So, and I continued being in the on-prem. I started my career as a .NET developer, and continued, becoming a lead architect as you grow in your career. It was in 2019 when uh, there was a discussion with AWS, and I was quite surprised knowing that AWS would be having a role for someone coming from Microsoft workloads background. But the role was about migrating and modernizing Microsoft workloads on AWS. So that was quite interesting. I had the knowledge of the source. I had to gain knowledge on the destination, AWS. So that was a quite steep ramp up when I, joined AWS. So that was my start of, cloud. And the second part to it, as Lucy mentioned, is quite similar. A lot of people helped me during the journey after I joined AWS. First 3 to 6 months was a big ramp up for me. A lot of people helped me ramped up, and I got a lot of certifications. So I thought about giving it back to the community, and that's when I started mentoring, and where my mentoring journey starts. Initially, I used to do it in my own capacity. Then later on, a few of us volunteered, and we started the initiative BESA, Become a Solutions Architect program. It's a 12-week focused batch in which we focus both on technical and behavioral skills to help people succeed in their cloud career. but still they were confused about the path that they should be taking to navigate the cloud career. And that's where the idea about cloud career journeys came, the book. And yeah, Ashish, you and me co-authored the book Cloud Career Journeys.
Yeah, it was interesting, Prasad. And if I talk about my starting background, I come little from dinosaur age when we used to have data center. I remember a lot of time being spent into data center and racking, stacking servers. I was mostly into virtualization field initially, so I was helping customers with private cloud. And then I was referred to Amazon for a role as a technical trainer, and then I started learning about AWS as a cloud technology. Before that, I was learning about private cloud, but not the public cloud. So that's how I started. And afterwards, it's the same journey, going through a lot of training material, internal, external, and ramping up on all the cloud skills. And now I'm reversing the role in a way that I host all these resources through my website called analogiescloud.com. And through that, I share whatever learnings I have done through videos, through posters, through infographics, or any books which I could author. That's about me. So yeah, interesting. So we all may have different points to start, but we are all progressing into the same direction. So that is good to hear. Now, if I'm starting again with another set of questions, that Lucy, what are the most important cloud skills to learn? And would you augment it with some soft skills also? Are they important for cloud-based roles?
Yeah, I think depending on the role, there's definitely different sets of skills. But I think most importantly is first of all to get the foundations sorted for cloud. I think it could be very tempting for new cloud learners to suddenly see, oh, like AI, this machine learning service, and just quickly try to jump into that. And there are a lot of cool tools right now, like it's offered by different cloud providers that make it very easy to get started with AI. But I think definitely as a cloud beginner, my advice would be to really understand the basics. For example, building three-tier web applications, understanding what serverless is, and the networking behind it as well. And I find that certifications are a great starting point, and then building your own technical projects. With that being said, though, I think my advice wouldn't be to not touch AI or like the new technologies at all. I think to learn it alongside it. And at the moment, we're at this very special point where we can use AI as a learning tool. So tools like ChatGPT, if you're stuck anywhere in your cloud learning journey, you can use it to help you, like maybe for example troubleshoot or help you set a learning plan. So I think that's definitely something to make use of and to leverage. And especially right now, since cloud skills are still in demand, if you can pair that foundational knowledge with something that you're interested in, for example security, AI, anything like that, that can also help cloud learners stand out, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Great advice there. How about you, Prasad? What do you think are the most important cloud skills, and are there any important skill in soft skills also important for cloud-based roles?
Yeah, and Lucy said it well actually. Cloud fundamentals is something that is really important. Before, like jumping the gun, ensure that you have the fundamentals sorted, especially for people who are coming from non-technical background. Understand about the core services, compute, databases, networking, security. Once you know these, then it will be easier for you to advance. And then see, cloud is such a vast space that you have to pick a choose kind of specialty you would like to go. You might go into infrastructure management. In that case, you might think about IAC tools for automation. You might want to go into DevOps. Then you to choose accordingly. But gets your foundation right. It will also help you understand where your interests lie when you get your basics correct, and then accordingly you can choose your field to become dive deep. And then soft skills are also really important. It also depends upon the kind of role that you are pursuing. You can be thinking about cloud architect, cloud engineer, cloud developer, cloud security specialist. it, Depending upon which way you go, the soft skills would matter and vary. But one thing that always helps is being customer focused. So there's so many things that can be done in cloud, but understand what the requirements are for the customers and work backwards from there. Think about how you can add value, and that's where your problem solving and analytical skills comes into picture. That's where your communication and collaboration comes into picture. Your continuous learning comes into picture, because cloud is evolving so fast, and with this AI, world is changing so rapidly, so you need to be very adaptive. And yes, ensure that you are paying attention to the details of the requirements that customer has, and accordingly designing the solution. And finally, time management is something that all of us struggle with, right? So that's something that we need to master. How much time you would think about spending in learning new things versus executing the things that you have, and how you would uh, yeah, ensure that you are not burning yourself too fast too soon. It's a long term game. So if you're going to go all in year one, which is great, you will learn a lot, but ensure that you're not losing the momentum as you go forward.
Makes sense. Yeah. So I would agree and resonate to the same thought. Like fundamentals are important. You can't build a tall building without having a solid foundation. And same applies to your career, your knowledge, your skills. Obviously, technical skills are important, and what may differentiate you also would could be your soft skills. And depending on your role, you may need to levy on or leverage on specific skills. Now, what I feel like what sometimes customers, some learners do, they focus more purely on technical skills. Hey, I want to master this technology, right? Good thing. But try to understand that why that technology already exists, or why somebody would have created it into first place. What was the business problem they were trying to solve? Once you start mapping those things, like why a technology is solving a business problem or how a business problem can be solved, you will start making the connection, and you would be more effective in whatever roles you are doing, whether it is troubleshooting, whether you are doing design, whether you are doing implementation. Once you know why, then how becomes very easy. Great. All right. Now, a lot of people start their journey with certification. So let me start with talking about certification first. First question comes: are these certifications valuable? So I would go with that. Are these certification valuable? And if Lucy, if you have to recommend that what somebody who is new to the cloud they should start with, so that they can get started and then move forward in their journey.
So this is something I sort of touched upon earlier in that I recommended certifications for cloud learners, but it is a question that I guess it's very commonly asked, especially for cloud learners, because sometimes there are some advice out there that certifications are useless, or like certifications are really important. You must get one. So it's like how like what's the right answer there? And I guess from my perspective, certifications do two things. Like they first provide you with a clear, structured roadmap for you to learn everything you need to learn to build a good cloud foundation. But also it helps you with like extra credibility. Perhaps sometimes when you're applying to companies, when they see that you have a certification, it could be a bonus for the resume, especially if you haven't had previous cloud experience. But I guess the limitation of that, from what I've seen, is that if people rely too much on certifications, then they're focusing too much on the theory, which means that they might not have actually had experience with building things and actually implementing or like seeing these services in the console at all. Um, and certifications, when people get it, it's like it doesn't really demonstrate their those skills, like the technical skills. So I would recommend pairing those certifications with different hands-on projects. So when you complete a certification, actually alongside that, or maybe after, uh, build that 3 to web application or piece together different services to build something to showcase on your portfolio. So that's my view on certifications. In terms of like complete cloud beginners, I would recommend, especially if you're from a non-technical background, starting off with the cloud practitioner certification from the AWS side, and Google Cloud and Azure, they have their equivalent as well of the foundational certifications. And if you have a bit more technical experience and you want to challenge yourself a bit, then I would recommend the Solutions Architect Associate certification and their equivalents with a different cloud. So something more associate level. Um, and I think it's a great introduction to the different services available, and a lot of online courses as well. They integrate the hands-on component, so definitely it's not just about answering a multiple choice question list. So yeah, that's my view.
Makes sense. Yeah, good advice there that foundational certifications are good starting point. What about you, Prasad? What's your view on certification, their value, and how to get started in that domain?
It's not about getting certifications, it's about how you get the certifications. That is more important. There are multiple ways to get a certification, right? You can simply there are a lot of questions that are available online if you google, and there is an easy way to do it or a shortcut way to do it. That might not help much, but if you're getting the certification in the right manner, by actually learning and understanding the concepts and doing the hands-on labs, it is going to be very valuable. And I'll give some examples. I know internet is divided on this, that whether certifications are valuable or not valuable. But I'll give you examples from actually the practical people, like 16 people whom we have covered in the Cloud Career Journeys book. Uh, there are people like Daniel Gyana and Ifyani, who are coming from a completely non-technical background. Like Daniel was a Uber driver, and during the pandemic, he started learning a tech and learning cloud. For those folks who are coming from a non-technical background completely, certifications is a very great path. So they start with fundamentals like CompTIA A plus to get initially their tech foundations right. And then when they're thinking about specific cloud, like both of them thought about getting into AWS, so they start with either cloud practitioner certification or AWS solution architect associate certification. And while doing that, they do a lot of hands-on, and that's what helps them, right? And then there are other set of categories, like people who are from tech background, like for example Sami Sheng. He has been a database administrator for more than 10 years, so he knew the fundamentals of IT. He understands what a networking is, and so he does not need to work on the fundamentals. But still, cloud is a new technology. You need to ramp up on that, and he used certifications to ramp up and move from a legacy world or on-prem world to the cloud world. And it motivated him to an extent that he thought about doing one certification every week, and he got 12 AWS certifications, and that has drastically helped him advance in his career, right? So it depends upon which career stage you are in. It Certifications can always be helpful as long as you are doing it in the right manner. And in terms of which certification is recommended, it again depends upon what career stage you are in. I know there are few people who are getting a lot of hands-on in their current job role, and they might think about going for professional level certifications directly. But in most scenarios, like it has happened to me, AWS cloud practitioner or AWS solution associate certification should be a good starting point. And Google and Azure, they both have similar certifications in their domain also.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. Now, moving for a little more on the practical advice side. So, Lucy, question to you is that what could be the biggest piece of advice you would give to someone who want to break into cloud? And how about someone who want to take their cloud career to the next level? So, what thing they should be doing? What is your advice for anyone who is starting or he want to excel into cloud career?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice would be to not do it alone. Um, I think looking at the different cloud learners I've talked to, like in the past, like especially with, or even these days with through my YouTube channel and through one-on-one career consultations, a lot of people at the start are very motivated and excited to learn about the cloud. But then, if I check back with them in a few months, they might have thought, oh, I'm actually working on something else now, or I've decided not to continue on the journey. And sometimes it's like they kind of lack the motivation to sort of continue. But I think the main, maybe like the deep rooted issue probably is going through that journey alone. I was very fortunate in that when I was in the journey of learning cloud, I was already interning at AWS. So I had a bunch of people around me who are doing certifications and learning at the same time. So I found that really, really helpful. But you don't have to be already in a cloud company, for example, to find that community. There are so many different programs, and there are a lot of people you can connect with online to go through that journey together. And it helps a lot with accountability. Just having a friend who's also learning cloud alongside you, I think it makes a really, really big difference from my view. And like, for example, like just for some more practical advice, you can go onto meetup.com and then look at the different events out there. Different cloud companies also have like summits and conferences throughout the year, sometimes in your local area as well. So that's something I would recommend doing, like going there and then also trying to network and meet people who are at a similar journey and career stage as you potentially, with like similar goals. And also, I guess if you can try to find a mentor along the journey. It's not completely necessary, but it definitely helps as well, and that helps you try to figure out like what to learn and what not to learn, and how to just like optimize sort of your journey through that. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Like my biggest piece of advice.
Nice, good to hear that. How about you, Prasad? What would be your advice? I like that word, Lucy. Optimize. That is very important for learning.
Yeah,
Optimize your
especially
learning.
when there are so many things to learn, right? You can get lost.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about for someone who wants to break into cloud, right? My biggest piece of advice, and this again comes, by talking to different people whom we have featured in the book, is build in public. And what I mean by that, build in public, is that when you're learning something and you're at the very start of your journey, you might be feeling that, this is something very basic and people would already be knowing it. There is no point in sharing about it in publicly. Do not think that, anything that you are learning, try and, you know, share it with others from the very beginning. And that helps in multiple things. First of all, the community is so supportive that if you are doing something right, they would be giving you a thumbs up and, rallying behind you. In case if you do something that can be done in a better manner, community would be able to point you out, and you would be having your community as your mentors automatically. When you will share some articles about, let's say you've done a very basic 3-tier web setup, let's say, and you have shared about the step by step process that you have done, people would be coming up with both, a positive response and a constructive feedback about this is what you can do better. And that really helps. It helps not only for you to gain understanding, but also it helps you in giving the visibility that would be required for breaking into the cloud. So you're learning cloud because you want to get that first job in cloud, right? And your potential employers are watching you when you do this. When you're learning in public, potential employers are watching you. When you're sharing the little nuggets of wisdom that you have gained while you're in that journey, they would see that, okay, you're actually doing the practical hands on while doing it. Think about that versus think about in 3 months time you post on LinkedIn that I got this certification. No one will be able to appreciate the journey that you have gone through for those 3 months to learn that and get that certification. You're just showing the outcome, not the process. So show the process with the people. And giving an example again of both Daniel and Ifyani, they were sharing it while they were learning, and the CEOs of the companies reached out to them to offer a job while they were learning themselves. And that is the, I would say, magic of network, right? When you start building network with credibility, it happens automatically that job opportunities come to you rather than you trying to apply for jobs. You still need to apply for jobs. It's still a very hard work. I'm not denying that, but it makes things easy when you start sharing it in public.
Makes sense. Yeah, if it comes to me and if somebody asks my advice, I would start with three things. First would be set a target. Without it, you would be lost because there are so many things, so many distractions. So set a target to get started. Second is setting a target is first part. Second part is being consistent. You can't say I would work 10 hours today to learn something and tomorrow or maybe next few days I'll not work at all. It doesn't happen like that. You need a very straight line of consistency graph to be successful in anything. And the third advice I would have would be there are no shortcuts. So if you think I can mug up some dumps or I can just go ahead and learn some question and pass the certification or I would be able to crack an interview, yes. But is it a long term strategy? Obviously, the answer is no. So to summarize, set a target, be consistent in your effort, and there are no shortcuts. Just be aware about it. So this is what would be my things to talk about. Now, taking it to the next flip side of the coin, like are there any common mistakes you see people making on their cloud career? If there are no mistake which are common, can do you think can be avoided? How about you, Lucy? Common mistakes and how to avoid them in your cloud journey?
Yeah, I think I was just having a think about this, and it would be the opposite of the advice that we were giving just then. So, for me, it would be like going on this journey alone. That would be a big mistake. Not being consistent, and like not documenting in public. But I'm just trying to think if there's any other mistakes that cloud learners make. Um, I think maybe what I'll do is just reinforce that it could be very tempting to try to take that easy route. And sometimes people might see like just doing certifications and showing that on your resume would be the more like easy route before just applying to jobs. But as you mentioned, Ashish, there's no shortcuts. So I would just like to reinforce the importance of building the hands-on skills, and maybe not just building a project or two, but really thinking about what are the different ways you can really apply that knowledge, and maybe extending that beyond the cloud. So, for example, building something that links maybe like cloud, like AWS cloud, for example, with another technology, and just like trying to stack your skills in different ways. And just, yeah, I think most importantly, just having the mindset that this is not going to be like university, for example, where there's like entrance exams and things like that. It's just all about being well rounded and being like having the mindset that you're going to be a future solutions architect or a future cloud engineer, and thinking about what sort of skills you need to develop to really become that in the future.
Makes sense. Great advice. How about you, Prasad?
I would echo with a lot of things that Lucy has said, right? Obviously avoid shortcuts and stuff. But one thing that I would like to add is do not doubt your capabilities. What happens is that when specifically you're starting, thinking of career transition, and you are in working hard day in and day out for a month or 2 months, and you do not see much progress, so that's where the second thing is, do not rush the learning process. It will take time for you to learn, so don't take shortcuts. But it's not easy. It's easier said than done. Within 2 months you have been able to learn this much, and you see there is so much more to learn. I'm way too far in in terms of achieving my goal. So do not start questioning yourself, and don't give up too easily. It takes time, it's a long process, but it's rewarding. So common mistake I see is that it happens that people start it but they are not able to continue it. And and in case if there is a issue, or you need more inspiration or motivation, there are so many stories who have been able to crack their first cloud role, but it has taken them 6 months to a year. So give yourself that much time when you're starting to think about career transition, right? And there are a lot of people, you can follow them easily on LinkedIn, who share their journey about how they have transitioned, and it has not been easy for them. Like even talking about Parna Mehta, she was on a career break for 12 years. So was Julie Elkins. She was on a career break for 12 years. Now, thinking about coming back into tech and then learning cloud and getting the roles, it's not easy. But they have been able to do it successfully, and both of them work at AWS now. So think about a time when they were starting and they were doubting themselves, to now a year down the line, both are working with AWS. Same with Daniel, who has transitioned his career from a pro athletic to cloud. So follow these people in case at any point you feel that your motivation levels are going down, but don't give up.
Makes sense. And if I have to just summarize in two sentences, like first thing is don't be impatient. It takes time. It's not like a sprint. It is a marathon. And then don't wait too long. Like you may have putting off that I would start certification from next month and again next month. So don't wait for too long. Go ahead, start your journey. Whatever your starting point is, there is always some progress to be made. So go ahead. Don't be don't be impatient and don't wait too long. Now, just at the end part of this is I want to ask about one thing. What is one thing people can start doing today to deepen their cloud skills or knowledge?
It's the answer is pretty simple. Do as much hands-on possible. And but I would say that with a caution, do not boil the ocean. Don't try to do hands-on each and everything. It's good, but once you get your fundamentals right, try and choose a specialization, right? It's easier if you have a hands-on job, because then depending upon what the customer requirements is, you're going to do in that way. But in case if you do not have an opportunity, then think about in which area you would like to build your specialization, and accordingly you will be able to do that. And in case if you need help there, try and reach out to mentors. Like me and Ashish both run a free mentoring initiative, Bessa Become a Solutions Architect. We do live sessions every Saturday, and then we provide resources to people. Or Lucy, her YouTube channel is amazing. If you're starting your career journey, there are a lot of videos which is going to help you in understanding, or reach out to her for mentoring. Or there are a lot of people in community whom you can reach out to get that level of understanding, that where you should be starting and in which area you should be thinking about specializing based on your interest and where you'd like to be in the future, and then accordingly start diving deep into that particular area.
Makes sense. How about you, Lucy? What would be that advice we can start today, kind of?
I was just reflecting on that, and I thought about my own journey, and I think what really helped was just immersing myself in the world of cloud in like whatever way that might make sense for you. For me, it was watching a lot of AWS videos on the YouTube channel, like watching what is the cloud, what is AWS, hearing customer stories and so on, and watching videos about people passing their certifications and what their study path was. Also, just reading a lot of LinkedIn posts, attending summits, and yeah. So I think that would be my advice. Just try to immerse yourself in cloud any way possible.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, I would resonate the same, exactly same. There are so many avenues. You want to learn through a newsletter subscription, go for it. If you want to learn through attending an event, go for it. But don't stop. There are so many ways, and everyone learns differently. So find what works best for you. Start networking, and you will learn those ways. Thank you so much. I would like to wrap up now that okay, there is obviously a lot of skill gap into the cloud field, and people can leverage different methods to start to to bridge that gap, and there are a lot of opportunities for people to bring up. And if you're not coming from technical background, or if you are coming from technical background, there would be challenges, but it is not impossible type of task. I always get people's question that I'm not having any technical, I come from accounting, I come from finance, can I succeed? Obviously you can. There are multiple ways to succeed, and you can find more details onto YouTube channels run by Lucy, or the books I authored, Prasad and I, or in our BESA program. So feel free to leverage these resources, find someone who is willing to help you out, and quickly move forward from that. And check the preview of Cloud Career Journey books also. Lucy's story is also there. So if you want to know how she started, how her recipe worked out for cloud, read that book. You can subscribe, and you can get started by downloading a preview, and that would give you idea of what entails into that. And we give this book as a giveaway into our BESA session, Become a Solutions Architect. So join that, and you may be one of the lucky winner to win the book in a giveaway every Saturday. Thank you so much.